Democrats. If you listen to our Foreign Affairs Minister, Chrystia Freeland, all she's crying is, where's all the help? Where's the United States of America? Why aren't they helping us? Where's the United Kingdom and Great... Where they're not helping us? Why isn't anyone helping us? Well, Chrystia Freeland, I guess you didn't send the proper emoji. I guess you should have sent a smiley face instead of a crying face. Or maybe you should have sent a hug and kisses rather than a smiley face. I don't know. Chrystia Freeland is the one that has these diplomatic relationships via emoji. So why is it she can't fix this? Why did she bother tweeting in the first place to immediately release civil rights activists jailed in Saudi Arabia? And why is it that a news outlet like CBC that's paid $1.4 billion a year couldn't find the official Twitter account of Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry? Explain that to me, because we haven't heard anything come off of that site since this whole racket started. Because if you go to Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry Twitter account, and for those of you who aren't, if you go to the foreign ministry, foreign ministry's Twitter page on August 11th, it says, "We value and stress our judicial independence. The comments reflect a lack of knowledge of the Saudi judiciary system. We categorically reject any interference from any party in the affairs of our country, especially in the judiciary. The Saudi judiciary gives all defendants, including those charged with terrorism or violating national security, all guarantees required by fair trial procedures. The judicial system in the kingdom gives the accused the right to object the rulings issued by methods prescribed for the objection." And why is it that no mainstream media in Canada, or in the US for that matter, have talked to us about what I just mentioned? And you can go further on the Saudi Arabian Foreign Ministry's Twitter account, and you will find more information on what they're saying these Canadians did. It says, "The issue has been imposed on us by a blatant and unacceptable interference in our affairs by Canada. The matter is not about human rights. It is a matter of national security. The individuals were in touch with foreign entities and enemies overseas." Now, of course, here in Canada, when we say overseas, we're talking about either Europe or we're talking about Asia, because it's over the Atlantic Ocean or over the Pacific Ocean. But when you look at where Saudi Arabia is in the Middle East, overseas could be just across the Persian Gulf. Who's across the Persian Gulf from Saudi Arabia? Iran. So when you go to Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry site, it talks about Iran. And it mentions a lot of the stuff that Iran has been doing. Basically, it's a tweet that says, "International disregard allowed Iran to violate Security Council resolutions. Iran was providing Houthi terrorist militias with heavy arms, smuggling of ballistic missiles, drones, and naval mines, attempting to destabilize the Middle East region, threatening the safety of maritime navigation in the Red Sea." It just goes on and on and on. Now, some may say, well, what does Iran have to do with Canada? Well, do you remember how Justin Trudeau and Barack Obama were buddy-buddy? When the Iran nuclear deal happened, there are sources claiming that pallets of cash were sent all over the world to world leaders so that they'd back up the Iran nuclear deal. So by supporting Iran, basically you're flipping a finger to Saudi Arabia. And people have to understand that within the Muslim community, there are two different sects of Muslims, and within each group of Muslims, there are different subgroups. Well, in Saudi Arabia, the majority of the Muslims there are Sunni. In Iran, the majority of Muslims are Shia. When Justin Trudeau went to visit the Aga Khan in December of 2016 with John Kerry, well, the Aga Khan is the head of the Shia Muslims. The Shia Muslims are in Iran. John Kerry was there as well. John Kerry, I believe, has a son who married a woman from Iran and has business dealings in Iran. Justin Trudeau's brother was a propaganda writer for Iran. So I wonder now, with all this that I'm presenting to you, does it make more sense as to why Saudi Arabia would impose such tough, it's not even negotiations. They took out 16,000 students out of Canada. They stopped all future trade deals. They told people to stop investing in Canada. And our Prime Minister and our media wants us to believe it's only over human rights. They want us to believe that these people were thrown in jail only because they were protesting for human rights. But yet they refuse to show us the reasons that are given by the Saudi Arabian Foreign Ministry on the topic. And again, you don't even have to believe it. But what I think media's role should be is to present all the facts, not just what Chrystia Freeland says, and not just what Justin Trudeau says, and not just what our politicians in Canada say, but go look at what the other side is saying as well, and then compare the two and figure out which one makes more sense. The news, okay, the media is not supposed to tell us what to believe. They're supposed to present us with facts so that we can determine what reality is. They're supposed to present both sides of every argument. Because if we're going to believe our Canadian politicians without questioning anything, if we're going to believe our media without questioning anything, well, we're worse than a country like Russia. Okay, because you'll hear Canadians complain that everything's controlled in Russia. Russians have no freedom. Russians don't have this. It's a communist state. Russia, bad Russia. Well, I'll tell you what, Canada's not much different, because our main media outlets are either controlled by the government or controlled by the richest families in Canada that are all in cahoots.